All right, everyone, welcome to the 2022 Toyota GR86, baby. Feels good, feels real good. We are currently in a track bread. Yes, it's bread for the track, but it is also red, and that is in the bread of the track bread, capital R, baby. So we all know and love the old 86. That is a crown jewel in the Toyota family. Affordable pricing, great handling, tons of tuner parts. The tuner cult for that vehicle is crazy. That vehicle, basically its uniform was a Rocket Bunny kit. That whole car basically made Rocket Bunny. With how great that car was, like every car, it's got its downsides, and that's where this car comes in today, ladies and gentlemen. This car is the new and improved, and Toyota, they actually listen to the people. Take note, manufacturers, good things happen when you listen to your clients. And you know, they did listen to a lot of things that people had complaints about. There was some complaints about the power, some of the torque. The handling, it was already pretty good, but those are the things that Toyota focused on with this. So this year's 86 is 228 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque with a 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds from this 2.4 liter flat 4 boxer engine. That 228 horsepower is a 20% increase from the previous generation, which Jimmy wish he made 20% in his TFSA. Some people might scoff at 20%, but that's significant for a car of this size and this weight. This manual transmission we got in here, it has an accessory short throw shifter, and my God, is it fun to be rolling through these gears. And what people were complaining about before was that there was no torque on the low end. It dipped around 3,400, 3,700, and then dropped after that. And they've completely fixed the power band now. Now, when you're revving in the low gears, you got lots of torque down low, you hit that 3,700 peak, and then you keep going as you're rolling through the gears. It's actually noticeably different. It's a lot more fun. All right, guys, let's talk about the exterior and some of the changes Toyota made on this car. Right off the bat, I'm 6'3", and I've noticed that the car is sitting a little bit lower. How much lower? 10 mils lower. I know it's not a lot, and we're actually not gonna notice it, but it gets that center of gravity as low as possible. One of the other new changes, this aluminum roof here. We also have an aluminum side fender here as well, which you know, helping lighten the car, and this is actually the lightest they've ever had it. We have these 18-inch aluminum rims here, which right from the beginning I actually was a fan of. That's one of the things I was a fan of, and from what I'm being told is this is actually inspired from samurai swords, so that's kind of cool. And we got the Michelin Pilot 4S's here, which they look pretty good. We actually have a functional air outlet. Yes, Toyota put a functional air outlet, which helps with the steering and stability, which is fantastic. I was not expecting that. I was expecting this to be, you know, a solid piece of plastic. We also here have a front air dam, which again helps with stability as well. I got one more thing for you guys. Something that Doug DeMiro probably doesn't even know, and that's saying something. So this front grille here, actually the design is some G's, small little G's instead of a honeycomb. That's a nod to the Gazoo Racing. So Doug, I want my check.
This?
All right. Well, guys, welcome to the interior of the GR86. But before I start, can we just appreciate a solid door sound when you close it? That's an underrated thing in my opinion. Some manufacturers, I don't know what it is, you close the door and it sounds like a tin can. I'm not naming anyone in particular, Mitsubishi, but it's terrible. Let's appreciate that when we have it. Maybe in the future, we might start ranking door closings. If that's something you guys are into, let us know down in the comments and maybe we'll start doing it. But first impressions getting in here, the seat's actually surprisingly comfortable, more comfortable than I thought it would be. The bolstering's pretty good here, and you have a pretty large 8-inch display here, which sports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that's a pretty good one, Toyota. We also, we have this digital display here, which, you know, hosts your generic that we don't really look at besides our speed and our RPMs. And you know, one cool thing is that they have the G accelerometer, which I wasn't expecting to see that, but it's nice when you're cornering that you can see that and, you know, kind of push yourself to see what kind of G's you can get. Yeah, they got these nice digital display buttons and doohickeys in here. We have very simple buttons here that you can press, and when you're driving, you're turning off the air conditioning, you don't want anything complicated. You know, we also have this GR startup button, which is a nice little addition as well. And on this display, when you turn the traction control off and turn on track mode, you get this nice kind of racing inspired interior display that is actually really nice. Overall, I think it's a pretty simple interior, but executed well. A car like this, you're not looking for luxury, you're looking for them to focus on design and driving. I think they've kind of nailed that here. So the steering on this vehicle is really confidence inspiring, honestly. Toyota said that they increased the twisting rigidity in this car by 50%. That is huge, 50%. And you can really feel it when you're cornering. This car gives you absolute confidence. I don't know what to say. It kind of feels like you're connected with the car. It's like you're almost immersed. The front hood of the vehicle, it slopes down so you can see right where the front end is. You feel no question about where it is and where you point it. The steering is super direct. It's actually quite heavy. I was surprised by that. I've been having a lot of fun dodging potholes here in Toronto, and it's just been so fun pointing the steering wheel and just dipping and dodging around. It's really, really good, actually. With all the aerodynamic changes that they've made for this car, you can really feel it on the road. With the double wishbone suspension and having the GR86, it actually has a front knuckle that is made out of iron. The BRZ actually doesn't have the front knuckle made out of iron, it's made out of aluminum. So having the front knuckle and the double wishbone suspension in this car makes it way more nimble, way more agile, way more confidence inspiring. Not to say that the BRZ isn't, but it's a little more fluid. And not to mention, you got this kick-ass ducktail at the back, which is also exclusive to the 86. So if you're comparing the two, or you think they're the exact same, they're actually tuned in the suspension, and they have little quirks like the back tail that is unique to the 86. You know, when this car was first released, I was actually pretty disappointed, pretty mad. That old GR86, I really, really liked it. The back end of this car, it looked like a goddamn Acura. I just thought, who the hell designed that? It looked like someone from Sony looked at Xbox controllers and said, yeah, that's gonna be our PS5 controller. The same thing, but for the rear end of this car. The front end, pretty good, but I don't know, that whole thing pissed me off. But, you know, after driving it this weekend and having it in this nice red color and getting to play around with it a little bit more, I've started to warm up to this. So, you know, I don't hate it as much, but it's definitely warming up to me. So there's a lot of things to love about this car, but there's also kind of some things that I'm not a big fan of. Let's start with these B and C pillars. The first time I got in this car and I made a lane change, it scared the hell out of me. I couldn't tell if there was a car there, and if they didn't have these blind spot monitors, I probably would be in a ditch somewhere. Now with a light sports car like this, what's so important is having really great power to weight ratio, and they've definitely achieved that in here, but you have to remember that the sound deadening is very little in here. So if you're going to be on the highway, the road noise is pretty bad. The suspension being pretty stiff in this car as well, you're going to feel all the bumps, you're going to hear all the bumps, and if you're going for long cruises on the highway, that's going to be almost as bad as a droning Honda Civic fart cannon.
Hey, hey.
It feels great to be back in a manual, but with that being said, this whole flip up to pull up to go in reverse thing, it's kind of annoying. I find that when I'm trying to reverse park the car in, I'm popping in between first and reverse, it's a little bit tricky to pull it up and get in first, get out and pull it up again. I kind of wish they just had a push down and go over. It's just a little more intuitive. As we touched on in the last video, we have pumped in fake audio. And in this case, I'm not too mad about it because the exhaust in this car is pretty underwhelming. So, you know, you kind of need that. But if I were to own this car, I'd probably put a cat back, probably an unequal length header, and then I'd be happy and wish that pumped in audio went away. These window controls and the lock button, the angle that they're on, oh my God. It's like they want you to break your wrist when you're trying to play with them. It's your arm, your hand is basically in a 90-degree angle when you're playing with them. These turn signals, they're a little frustrating. They're kind of like BMW, where if you click it all the way, you know, it doesn't actually stay there, but it knows you're doing that. And so I found sometimes that I didn't mean to hit it that far, and then I have to try to cancel it, and that's a whole mess in itself. And you know, well, I don't want to hit it hard again, so I just hit it lightly, and then that's not enough. So, you know, little things like that are just a little bit frustrating. So the 86 that I'm driving today is in the premium trim, which is a $3,000 option above the base level. And with that, you get 8 speakers, a little bit of Alcantara in here, the 18-inch rims, which is great, some blind spot monitoring, you know, a few of those little things. And with that, it gets to $34,490. So just a little bit below $35,000. I think for the price, you get a lot of bang for your buck. And this is a fun weekend car. You can rip this thing around, and the handling is spectacular. So I think I definitely recommend it. All right, guys, that's it. The rain's closing us out here. That's the 2022 GR86. Something that started out with this Acura back end that I absolutely hated, and I started to like it by the end of this weekend. The power increase, that 6-speed short shifter, that low end torque, it's all phenomenal. But until next time, make sure you leave a comment, like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. See ya! I'm not sure where the normal red went, but it's track bred. So this is the big brother to the old 86.
Sorry.
Technical difficulty. You need some water? He needs some milk.